Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another recap video. So starting here with GBPAUD. So basically what happened on this pair, we had the spike above that we were looking for, and the retest did happen right at this point, but it didn't come as deep. I wanted it to come a little bit deeper into the level to get a setup, but that didn't happen. However, you know, it might kind of be coming back, right? So I'll still be looking for this as a valid setup maybe next week. GBPCHF. So this one also kind of played out, but again it didn't come back into the level, so we are expecting it to kind of pull back just a little bit deeper before we get the push off, but that it didn't come deep enough, so I didn't catch a setup on that one either. GBPJPY. I know this looks a little bit messy, but let's zoom in a little bit. So this one actually did set up, but I missed my entry on this one. So I was looking for it to either pull back into this level, which it did on this candle here, or make a deeper retracement back into these highs. But it found support here at this first level. Before I could catch an entry, you know, price made its move. That would have been a pretty good trade this week, but I didn't catch a trade on this one. But analysis played out as expected. EURAUD. So for this one, right, so this one also we had two scenarios, right? I just said we'll see a crack above, right, with some impulse, maybe test these lows together with this whole wick here, drop back into like the trend line, testing these highs, and then see a bounce. Or we could see that kind of consolidation movement and then a sell-off, right? And that is the scenario that actually played out this week. I didn't catch an entry on it. It wasn't the clearest setup for me. But you know, if we see sort of like a retest to maybe these broken lows here, then maybe I'd look for a short. But it's good to see that the analysis played out. But no entries. EURUSD. This also played out as expected. We had a slightly deeper retracement than I was looking for. You know, it broke the trend line, but then straight away on Friday, it had this big bullish engulfing candle taking out all the activity, all the selling activity from the day before. So I'll be looking at probably some entries on this in the weeks upcoming. I think we might be able to find some decent setups, but I'll just be keeping an eye on it. CADJPY. So this one is setting up currently. It's not ready to go, but it's kind of setting up, right? We were looking for the break above, coming back to retest, and we had the break above, right? So we had that clear momentum move that we're looking for. So, you know, probably in next week or upcoming weeks, we'll look for the retest and try to catch an entry. AUDCAD. So this one didn't really play out. I mean, it did, right? We were looking for the retrace, but it missed my alert by probably like a couple of pips, right? But in either which way, you know, I was looking for it to kind of pull back deeper into the level. So I tested these highs and then looked for a long position, but we didn't find that retracement this week. It might retrace a little bit deeper in the upcoming weeks, and if it does, then I'll look for an entry, right? So I think that's all the trades that I looked at that actually didn't set up this week. So I'll just jump to the trades that did actually set up, and I'll just go in the order of my journal. This week was a little bit weird, right? We had some pretty decent winning trades, but I had some losers, and I'll talk through them in some detail. Why I'm saying that the week was a little bit weird is because I had some issues with my my psychology a little bit this week. For my winning trades, I took reduced risks on the setups, right? So I didn't follow my normal risk profile, and I don't know why that is. I think I think after the two losses that I had, it kind of affected my mental state just a little bit, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. So something for me to kind of look at and try to fix for the upcoming weeks and months. But I don't know the solution just yet. But anyway, I'll just talk through the trades that I actually did take, right? So the first trade we took here was on NZDJPY. It was taken on the 15-minute time frame, long position, netted 60 pips. It did 5.98 return. This was a trade at the time of entry. Cool. And then we had, let me just jump to the journal. And then this was the trade at the time of closing. Cool. So what, just read the journal entry for you. So basically what I'm looking at, so Nick, the guy that I follow, he alerted me to the level. And there's a basic setup, so break and retest over minor H1 level. Book full profits at the previous highs, right? So I'll just jump to that trade. NZDJPY. Where are we? NZDJPY. All right, cool. So we had this, these daily highs that were formed, right? And price broke above, right? So you have these kind of daily highs just here. Price broke above and came back and tested, right? So I'll just jump to the lower time frame with the 1 hour where you'll be able to see the level just a little bit clearer. So we had these highs were the highs on the daily chart that were broken, right? Then we had this nice impulsive move that cracked above, came back and retested it, right? So I think in my original screenshot I had the zone drawn up a little bit differently. Oh, no, yeah, the same zone. Yeah, my bad. I was getting confused by the by the color of my stop loss, right? Yeah, so yeah, it broke above, came back, and we had this rejection candle that happened right here, and then it pushed deeper into the level, right? So when it pushed deeper into the level, I just looked at the 15-minute time frame, right? And you could see that price spiked below, just below the level. Spike just below the level, right? And then straight away, instead of pushing lower, we had that rejection with the bulls coming in, right? So that kind of said to me, based on the momentum that we had to the upside, you know, we might see a continuation, right? So I took an entry here, which was, yeah, simple break and retest. Price went into profit. I would have booked some profits at these highs, but because of the way that the trade was setting up, I just said, you know, I'll leave it to let it run, right? So went up, came right back down to the entry, went up again, came back down to the entry. And when I saw this movement happening, I kind of lost a little bit of faith in the trade, but I stuck with it, and I just drew this corrective trend line here, just following the movement. And I said to myself, if it broke this trend line, right, impulsively, then I would have just closed the trade off and, you know, call it a day. But instead we got the momentum I was looking for. And then when price hit the, you know, previous highs, I just decided to close out the position. Initially, I did close half of the position here at these previous highs. Then this move happened and we had the pullback. And then I closed off the rest of the position right here when it came back to the highs, right? So I just closed out full profit at that level. But, you know, we had this kind of minor retracement, and then we had this next impulse. I wasn't part of that move. So that was that trade. I was happy with the trade. It was, you know, I think it was a pretty good trade. So started off the week really good, right? Then the second trade I took was on USDCHF. I've been waiting for this trade for a long time, probably about 2 months, right? It was taken on the 4 hour time frame. It was a short position. Obviously it turned out to be a loss, so minus 55 pips, minus 1 hour. And it was just, so basically we had a daily break and retest, confluence of the 50. Man, one of these weeks I'm gonna have no typos. Right, break and retest of a daily level, confluence of the 50 fib and a trend line. Trade stopped out. Buying pressure was just too strong. Would, however, take this trade over and over again. So this was the trade at the time of entry. Right, so we had this massive daily trend line. We had this level that was broken, clearly broken, came back up and retested, right? And then this was the trade at the time of exit. Sweet. So just, you know, we had some rejection at the level, but then price, just the bullish pressure was just too strong, right? So it just continued with the momentum. So I'll just jump to the charts to kind of talk you through the trade. So USDCHF. Right, so we had the analysis was done on the daily time frame, right? So we had this downward trend. Price kind of had this head and shoulders, which is kind of this reversal pattern, right? Push back into my level, right? Jump to the 4-hour time frame. So we had price make this sort of push into the level, right? And this is where I saw some rejection on the lower time frame, right? And price kind of retraced, came back into the level, showed more rejection, and I thought, all right, cool, this trade's gonna work out, right? But instead it spiked right above, just tapped the stop loss, and is now kind of back to break even, right? But unfortunately, you know, my stop place, I mean, I don't think I did anything wrong with the trade. Maybe, you know, I could have paid a little bit more attention to this level here, but I just thought, to me, this level was just that little bit clearer, right? So, you know, yeah, you can't, as I always say, you can't really win them all. You know, I think it was a clear trade, and as I said, you know, I'll take it over and over again. You could see here, you had that big bullish move into the level, which is what I like to see. And then straight away, we had that rejection, like straight away, right? And then price kind of had more struggle. And then we had that push lower, right? So at this point, I thought, you know what? The trade's probably going to work out. Then we had, it just tested these highs here. It reversed. We saw more rejection. Like this is, you know, clear rejection of the level, but you know, we just had that kind of slow trickle of death, right? But yeah, anyway, so what can you do? So I'll still be looking for shorts on this trade. I just wait for some more bearish market structure, maybe for it to come back into, you know, below the trend line, show what it wants to do with the level it's currently at, and then look to get involved. But for now, you know, we'll see how that goes. All right, so the next trade was EURJPY. So after this loss, I was a little bit protective with this trade, and I broke my rules just a little bit. But you know, yeah, so it's just a little bit of annoyance with this trade. So we had EURJPY 4-hour time frame, long position. All right, so this was my trade. It's not the clearest of setups. Based on a deeper break and retest, confluence with the 200 EMA, positive fundamental news was on the cards for the euro, and basically why I've marked it as red is because I moved my stops earlier than usual because of the news, right? And then I was stopped out at break even. So this was the trade at the time of entry. All right, so we had this kind of downward structure forming. We had that break, it came back to retest it. We also had this level being formed. And we had, you know, we generally in this kind of bullish move, right? So I saw this as a pretty decent entry. I gave the trade quite a bit of room to breathe, and just initial targets of previous highs, right? And then this was the trade at the time that I closed it off, or I guess when it was stopped out, right? So it came back. So I moved my stops to break even too early, and it came back and it took me out at break even, right? So I'll just talk you through the trade. That was EURJPY, just here. So we had, so this was the trade, right? So I took my entry based off of, as I said, right, the rejection of this level here, right, these highs, right? I was looking at this level initially, but I didn't like the price action at that level. So I moved my entry just lower to this level. And if I just slap on the indicators, all right, so we just look at the 200. All right, cool. So we had price just tapping the 200 EMA together with the level. So I thought, you know what, this seems like a pretty decent entry. And we had price move higher. When we had that move higher, because of the news that was coming out and because I previously lost the USDCHF trade, the USDCHF, my psychology was just a little bit off. So I moved my stops to break even just a little bit too early. And you know, price spiked back down, took me out at break even, only to just see the trade see the trade rocket into good profits, right? So you know, unfortunately, you know, I wasn't able to capitalize on this, but it's a good lesson to myself to try and, you know, for the upcoming weeks and months, to try and stick as much as possible to my analysis and stick to my trading rules. So it's a good lesson to learn. All right, so the next trade that I took was GBPCAD. This trade was probably the most annoying trade of the week. So yeah, GBPCAD, long position on the 4-hour time frame, break and retest of daily highs, entry taken after some rejection, 4-hour time frame and 1-hour time frame. Was right about the trade but wrong about the entry. All right, so I'll just show you the time of entry on this trade. All right, so we had a clear break above, came back, retest as done in my analysis video, right? And I was just looking for rejection, which we got, and then looked for, you know, tested those previous highs, right? Initial targets of the previous high. So then this was the trade. This was the trade at the time that I woke up, right? So price just spiked down, right? Spiked down exactly to the 618 level. Took out my stops only to just rocket into massive profits. Yeah, all right, so I just talk you through this trade. So we had GBPCAD. All right, so as we said as I said on my analysis video, we had this kind of slow, trickly uptrend, but we had on the daily time frame last week, we had this massive impulse higher, right? And I said we'll look for price to pull back into the recently broken highs, and then look for that that move higher, right? I guess in hindsight, looking at the trade some more, I could have identified maybe this as the level. That's probably the clearer level, right? But you know, I saw the price action I was looking for at this level, right? So if I jump to the 4-hour time frame, right, you could see here that price pushed into the level and straight away showed that rejection, right? And on the lower time frames, I'll show you what this looked like, right? This is the level I just drew out here, and you could see on the 4-hour time frame, this deeper level, it wasn't as clear, right? It's not as clear as this level. We had this resistance here together with this resistance here. It broke above, so I was just looking for the retest of this level. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I could have had a deeper stop loss. I don't know, but you know, I just thought it would probably respect this level and just, you know, move on. And as I said, you know, I saw the price action I was looking for. If I look on a 1-hour time frame, you'll see what I'm talking about. So right here we had price come into the level once, paused, showed rejection, tried to push higher, didn't, came back, forming this kind of double bottom scenario. And then we had these rejections, right? It pushed higher, came back up, and then we had that nice, I don't know if you could see it, we had that nice rejection candle right there. So that is the candle I took my entry on, right? And then, you know, we had the move higher, but then, you know, obviously during the night, we just had it, you know, dip lower to, I guess, grab some liquidity, and then shot right into profit, right? Yeah, what can you do? Yeah, as I say, you really can't catch them all, right? So I was right about the trade, but wrong about the entry. So I'll just look at, I'll probably study this trade just a little bit more to see what I could have done a little bit better. But I think I followed all my rules, and as I said on the thing here, right? I was right about the trade, but wrong about the entry. And technically, I'd take this trade over and over again, right? So it is what it is. All right, so the next trade for the week for me was NZDUSD. This was taken on the 15-minute time frame. It was a long position, right? Nick alerted me to this trade. It was a break and retest of a H1 level in the direction of the daily trend, right? Price showed some rejection on the 15-minute time frame. Initially secured some profit at 1.7 R, and then the rest was stopped at break even, right? So this was the trade at the time of entry, right? So we had price make this big impulsive move, came back down correctively into the level, right? Showed some rejection, so we're just looking for further upside. And this was the trade at the time of closing, right? So I booked out some profits at these previous highs, and then it was stopped out at break even. Yeah. All right, so I'll just jump to the chart to talk through the trade. So that was NZDUSD. So on the, let's see. So we had a clear daily uptrend, right? So we're just looking for buy positions. I just jumped to the 1 hour time frame where the analysis was done. So we had a crack above these highs here on the 1 hour time frame. Price came in, showed some rejection, came back in, showed more rejection, lots of rejection, right? So entry was taken on the 15-minute time frame at the level. So we had price had this very, very slow corrective move back into the level. And then right here, we saw that nice rejection, bullish candle followed by another rejection candle. So I entered based off of that candle. Straight away, price went into profit, booked out half my profit at previous highs, and then we had price just dip back into the level, right? And then it just continued to dip lower. So, I think it was a decent trade. Again, it was a trade I'll take over and over again. We had, let's see, on the 1 hour time frame. So I mean, you can't really tell when this would happen, right? So, price did form that kind of double top, this M formation, right? So it had that kind of move there, came back down to test these lows, and then rocketed up on Friday, right? But, like I said, I was happy with the trade. We would have liked to see a nice, higher high being formed, breaking these highs, but we didn't really see that happen, right? So, yeah, decent trade, was able to get something out of it. So yeah, it's a nice trade. And then the last trade for the week, which is kind of where my psychology again was kind of messing with me, right? So we had AUDUSD taken on a 15-minute time frame as a long position. I was alerted again by Nick of this level. So there's a break and retest of a H1 level in the direction of the main trend. After price showed some rejection on the 15-minute time frame, there was also divergence spotted at the level. Trade was taken with reduced risk, right? So this is what I'm saying about my psychology, right? This trade was taken with a very, very tiny stop loss, and I'll talk you guys through it. And that's why I have these crazy returns, right? So the first scale out was at 14R, and then the second scale out was at 18R. I know it sounds ridiculous, but yeah, I'll talk you through the trade. So, all right, so this position is actually still open, right? So it's still running. So this was the trade at the time of entry, right? So entered on this candle just here, and obviously the trade's still open, right? So I'll just talk you guys through it. So we had AUDUSD. All right, so I'll just jump to the daily time frame. So we had price is in this clear massive uptrend, just like NZDUSD and EURUSD and stuff. So we had this clear daily trend being formed, right? If we drop to the, I guess we could look at the 4-hour time frame. We had these lows being formed together with what was very interesting to me on this trade was this particular candle right here, where price spiked into that level, right? Showed some rejection and price bounced off of it, right? And then you see price here dipped beneath the level. I don't know if you guys could see this clearly. Price dipped beneath the level. Cool. Like whenever I see that, I always think of liquidity. Pushed above, we had this other spike, pretty much exactly where we had that spike, right? Exactly into the level. Price pushed higher again, dipped back below, and then started to push higher, right? So when it started to push higher, I was looking at this level here because Nick kind of pointed it out. Looked at this level here and just kind of looked on the lower time frames to see what was clear, right? So I'll just jump to the lower time, the 1-hour time frame now to show you. So we had, so this is the kind of the dip beneath the level that I was talking about, right? So we had this massive spike below, price came back up, and then we had this spike back into the level, right? We had this low here, spike back into the level, pushed higher, broke back through, right? Pushed up, and then price came back in exactly to where that spike was. And when that happened, all right, this is where I took my entry. I know it looks ridiculous, but just bear with me, right? So here on the 15-minute time frame, right, you could see here we had price making. Well, actually, I'll just pull up the RSI so you can see the divergence. So basically, we had price making lower lows, right, whereas you had the RSI making higher lows, right? So you had higher lows on the RSI and lower lows on price, right? So we had signs of low momentum pushing lower, right? Which is why I said about grabbing liquidity, right? And price spiked up, collected some orders right here, right, with this accumulation, right? Remember, pay attention to the wick, right? Together with this wick right here, together with this wick right here, right? So we had this kind of accumulation here. Price then spiked above, came back correctively into the level, and I'll just jump to, well, I'll just zoom in just a little bit onto this. Just can replay it. We can look at, I don't know if we'll be able to do this here. Here we go. So right on the 5-minute time frame, you can see price just came right back into that level, right? So this is candle I entered on. Price came right back into the level, right, after rejecting. This is the retest wick that we looked at in the past, over here and over here, right? So when I saw price came back into the level the way that it did and paused, I decided to take my entry right here, and this trade was taken with a 3 pip stop loss, right? It turned out to be around 4 pips with spreads and stuff. And then straight away on the very next candle, on the 5-minute time frame, right, we had as a second candle, right, we had this this impulsive move taking out this price action here. So then I set another trade just at these highs here, which was just like a buy stop trade, right? So if we had an impulsive move, it will trigger me into the trade. So I took another position just at this level here, right? And then price, you could see price just spiked up, took me into the trade, and then I just rode it up. So that was this trade. I mean, it worked out amazingly well, right? So right now price is probably sitting in just about, let's have a look. All right, so currently price is sitting in just about let's see, yeah, roughly about 1 to 22 1 to 22 risk to reward, right? It's a good trade. I was very happy with this entry, but unfortunately, because of the size of the stop loss I had issues taking my normal risk, using my normal risk profile on this trade, right? Because I guess in my mind, because I normally trade with bigger stops, right? So in my mind, if I was trading this normally, I would normally put my stops beneath these lows, right? Which would have been a 22 pip stop, right? And then price would have currently been in around 3R, right? Just over 3R. But instead I took it with this very tight stop because of the price action, and because it was NFP. So, you know, if the trade was gonna go, it's either gonna go one direction or the next, right? It could have either rocketed up or spiked below. You can never tell with those news events. But you know, so this would have been a really good trade to cover back like all my losses, the 2 losses that I had this week. But you know, covered the 2 losses I've had this week plus a lot more. But because I took it at reduced risk, you know, I'm sitting just above break even, right? Because I took it at massively reduced risk. But you know, yeah, it's something that I need to work on. I need to figure it out, how to kind of get past my psychology after losing, you know, losing the 2 trades together with the break even, and seeing that especially the GBPCAD and the EURJPY go into massive profit after taking me out at break even and after stopping me out. So it's something I need to probably work on, right? So it's on my to-do list for the upcoming weeks and months, and I'm sure I'll get there. I just need to work on it. But yeah, so I guess all in all, you know, the trading week was pretty good. I was happy with the trading week. You know, had some really good entries. My analysis played out. I missed some quite a few entries on a couple of the GBP pairs, but you know, you can't you can't catch them all, right? So, you know, hopefully we'll see how the upcoming week goes. Anyway, as usual, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe and join me on my trading journey, right? So I'll see you guys tomorrow for the analysis video, the weekly outlook video. All right, see you later.